been in the US too, right? And there it's completely different. There it's encouraged to start businesses as a student. Very normal. Your product is going to be inferior to these others, and nobody's going to use your product. Very short, but I think it definitely helped that I was doing very well at uni.
I think a lot of people might or have this thought lingering in their mind right next to the work that they're doing, like their day job, whatever, or the studies they're pursuing to start a business. And I think they also have this fear of overworking themselves, right? Because they say, you know, what about my family, friends, and personal life? I just maybe don't have the time for it. So I wanted to ask you, right? So you said you almost had a burnout and you worked so much during your studies too. Did you find like a sweet spot on how to juggle those two things, or did you just throw personal life out of the window?
I think the last thing.
The last thing, did you?
Yeah, I didn't quite figure out yet how I would, if I would go back to university, I don't think I would already know how to juggle that, to be honest. Because startup life is a lot. Like if you do it with 100% focus, basically, then you really work like 90, 100 hours a week. So, and then on top of that, university, like it's just the question, what do you find more important? You know, like do you first want to finish your university and then go more into your startup? Well, then keep it down to like 10, 20 hours a week for your startup. Do some university work, and then you can sometimes have a beer with your friends. That's still possible. But then it won't be anything big until you graduate and you can fully focus on it, because that's really necessary. So you'll kind of be in the starting stages until you will graduate then, most likely. Yeah.
So you have to keep that in mind when you want to start a business next to whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah. Because think about it. Like if you start a business and offer a product to people, you'll have to compete with everything else that is out there, right? So like also to the big guys sometimes. And if you don't work 3 times as hard as everyone else, then your product is going to be inferior to these others, and nobody's going to use your product, right? Because nobody uses your product for you, but people only use your product when they actually get some value out of it.
Right, so, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so like, but however, getting a team together costs a lot of time. So for us, it took about half a year, I think, to get the right team together.
Really?
And yeah, that's one of the most difficult things in the early phases, I would say. So already spreading the word, you know, putting your website online, like getting those first things started and finding the right people, maybe throwing out a really quick product to test your assumptions. I think that can be definitely done during university.
Yeah. Okay, I have this question, right? Did your parents know that you started your company during university, like Dr. Sasuno?
Yeah, they did.
And they weren't concerned at all?
Sometimes they were a bit concerned for my mental health, yes, but in the end, they were always fully supportive, which is very nice. That's also very helpful. You know, if you don't have that environment, it's a lot tougher to do, I would say.
Right. Do you think that was because you also excelled in academia, or do you think even if you were just average, the average passing student, they would have been just as supportive?
I think I'm not entirely sure, but I think it definitely helped that I was doing very well at uni, because then they were seeing that that's fine anyway. That's gonna be fine, you know. And even if it doesn't work out, this entrepreneurial journey, he'll always be able to fall back on that, and get a job or whatever. So I think that definitely put them at rest. I'm not sure what would have happened if I wouldn't be very good at uni. No. No. I can imagine that it's a lot tougher. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can also imagine a lot of parents, also for example my parents, if I wouldn't be good in academia and I would start a full-time company next to it, I don't think they would be convinced.
Yeah, exactly. Like first focus on uni, like get your grades up.
Exactly. Yeah. I think because you started when you were 18, right? You were also quite young. You said you were kind of naive. Do you know what else could have held you back then?
I guess there's this psychological barrier to it, especially in our continent, I would even say, not even country, but continent.
Right.
Because I've been in the US too, right? And there it's completely different. There it's encouraged to start businesses as a student. It's very normal, actually.
Really?
Yeah, especially in the Valley, Silicon Valley area.
Oh,
However,
okay. Yeah.
I was the only one, I think, that I knew at least that was doing
Mm.
it. So it's kind of a crazy thing almost. And I think that could slow people down, at least for making this. Even if you make the decision at the end to do it, could slow people down. That the environment around you is not right for entrepreneurship. Not as good, at least, as other environments.
Right.
I would say that at a university back then, yeah, it was just a crazy thing. Like everybody knew that I was doing that because I was one of the only ones, and it shouldn't be like that, in my opinion. It should be more normal to start such projects as a student because it's not a big thing. People see it as a big thing, and that's why it's in the minds of the students that it's a big thing. But it's genuinely just a little project that you start up, and you try out in the beginning. So it shouldn't be, shouldn't have such a large psychological barrier to it. So I would say that in Europe, at least, I think that could be a very large one. Just the environment around you almost telling you that you're crazy to do things.
Yeah, and I remember also that when you started your company at the end of your bachelor's, right? Student Up.
Yeah.
You actually went to the States.
Yes.
For a while,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Was that the reason?
The reason was twofold, I would say. First, we wanted to bring this Silicon Valley spirit to Europe. That was our mission. And we had never seen in person the Silicon Valley spirit. So therefore, in order to really do that, you first have to see it and really experience it. And it was, I think, in our development, like in the end, it didn't work out. But in our development, it was a very significant milestone, I would say. Mm-hmm. And second, we were just wondering whether that was a better place to be for us. In terms of the spirit, in terms of the ecosystem that you're in, is a lot more supportive there. So we just wanted to check that out as well. In the end, also, we decided to first start in Europe, simply because of, even though the environment is a lot more conservative, it's also a lot cheaper to start here. Like in Silicon Valley, in order to get an apartment, you'd have to pay $3,000 a month at least. Right. So that's simply something that you cannot afford, that we could not afford. And second, we were also a bit early for that back then. But in the end, it was still really good that we went there. We went there for like 2 months, I think. Met with a lot of cool people, and we still reap the benefits of that, actually, just because we have so many contacts there right now. So that's really cool.
And you said it was a bit early for that. A bit early in which sense?
So our product was not developed enough yet. Like our thought was, and again, this is where we were naive. We go to Silicon Valley to raise investment, and we come back with a bunch of money.
And that would be nice.
Yeah. So because we thought, we were considering that as one of the places where we wanted to settle. So we're like, okay, let's go there and pitch to a lot of different people. But the thing that we didn't have in mind is, even though there's a lot more money in Silicon Valley, there's also a lot more startups.
Right,
a lot of
more
great startups as well.
Yeah,
a lot of great entrepreneurs. And we were just in the starting stages back then. So we didn't have really any traction to show for it. And therefore, traction is really something you need in order to raise money.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I mean, would you go back now?
Probably not with the situation right now, no.
But, true, fair enough.
Yeah, I think soon I will probably go back anyway. At some point, not right now, and even if it's not for living there, but I think it's a very good place to be in terms of the spirit. It's so different than here.
For inspiration,
people think. Yeah, it's for inspiration, but also just the way people think. Like failing there, like starting something up and failing is a good thing. It's seen as you're encouraged. You're a hero there if you do that. Right. Here you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Right. So that only that is already so different. There's so many smart people around you, and it's just the entire ecosystem. You feel it when you're there, that you're in, like that you're part of something bigger, basically. Mm-hmm. And here you it's almost like you're one of the only ones doing it, even if you're not. It just the ecosystem is not that evolved yet. Hopefully it will, but it's not there yet. Absolutely.
Okay. Then do you feel like the this European climate of what you just described is holding you guys back?
Ourselves? Most likely, yeah. I mean, like, it's something that can be dealt with. You know, like if you have the right mindset yourself, it's totally fine. You can do it. It's not a problem. But it's just you know, like for example, if you pitch to an investor here with your startup, here it's like no, right? Then that's how they say it. And there it's like no, not for me. But I know 5 other people who could be interested in you.
Really?
Yeah. It's like it's a different spirit, you know. It's a connector spirit, doing something for others without ever expecting anything back. That is the spirit there. Everybody will want to have a meeting with you if you ask for it, just like a little coffee or coffee break or something, just to talk to you, to mentor you a little bit, because they genuinely believe in that spirit. They have that attitude, and here they don't. Here it's a lot more conservative environment. So I think in that sense, you know, indirectly we probably are affected here too, that the spirit is not here. So we probably could have had a much larger network, a lot more of a supportive environment here. But if you have the right mindset yourself, it's definitely still possible to succeed here. Like there's a lot of examples, of course, of Dutch startups, for example, that are doing very well. So yeah.